portfolio, that is generating $250,000 in terms of income per year. I was working in corporate, working really long hours. Neil was messed around by large developers. We wanted to find another way where we could earn, but earn flexibly.
Look, this is where we want to bring the people who have gone through a transformation, help inspire you on your journey and help you overcome the challenges and go and achieve the goals and dreams that you've got in life. So joining us on this episode is Katie and Neil. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so look, let's go straight into it. Like, just tell us what was it like for you guys, before all getting into property investing, and why did you even want to get into property investing in the first place?
Go first.
Okay, so I was working in corporate, working really long hours, making lots of money for other people, not really having any time for myself at all. Neil was running a construction business and getting messed around by large developers who didn't want to pay on time, and that caused a huge amount of stress. So both of us really were working long hours, lots of stress. We then had our first baby, and he was really very, very poorly as a small child, and we were in and out of hospital a lot, which meant that I had to leave my job. And we were at the point where, Neil,
it was chaos, wasn't it, a little bit,
Yeah.
We're trying to run two different lines of work and a young family, long hours, lots of stress. It was tough.
And we wanted to find another way where we could earn, but earn flexibly around the hospital treatments and all this kind of thing, but also have control of our own cash flow. That was a real point of stress for us before. So yeah, since we found property, we now work for ourselves. We control our own cash flow. We are our own client, and we've got all the flexibility that you could ever ask for around a young family, which is amazing.
Like, what was the turning point, or how did you even come across property? Like, because I remember we were talking before, and you said, well, you didn't even know that this could be achieved by, someone who's not already.
No.
I worked in the game. Obviously, we knew that the people out there making money. I previously done a new build and made some money a long time ago, but that was more luck rather than knowledge of being able to do it.
And it was the investment side, wasn't it?
But it's the investment side. It's knowing that you couldn't, you can do this stuff without having
money,
massive amounts of money,
or of experience.
It was that got us, and we were like, we want to know a little bit more about this, because it may be we don't have to work the way we're doing, or the way we currently work. So that was the start of it.
What was the first thing that came up that said that drew you to your first project?
And a lot of people had said, oh, you work in construction, you guys should get into property. Well, we don't have money, we don't really know anything about how you even start with that. And I remember just seeing on Facebook so many people who were going to real life events, and suddenly their property journey was taken off. And we tried to do a bit on our own. We'd done a couple of buy-to-lets, and we did some very basic research into how it all worked. But it was hard. It was really hard. We did one at a time. It was very stressful because we were on our own and we didn't really know what we were doing. And so just seeing all these people who, I'd met a lot of people locally at networking events, and they're suddenly skyrocketing with their portfolios. The thing with all of them, the same thing was that they would go to they were talking about real life. Like, what's this real life? So we started following it, okay, this looks interesting. And then the key was somebody who I'd been following, and I was quite impressed with his journey, announcing that he'd become a coach and that he was going to share how someone had helped him, and he wanted to then help others, and an invitation to come and have a call. And that's kind of where it began.
At that point, did you have a existing project already that you was halfway through?
Yeah, we did. So we'd done these two buy-to-lets and thought, this is really stressful and it's taking forever. And Neil's background is commercial construction, so they're used to doing much bigger, more exciting projects. So we thought, right, okay, let's forget these buy-to-lets, let's go for a development. In our wisdom of not knowing anything.
I guess to put that into context a little bit, I mean, yes, we knew how to build it. That was probably the easy bit.
It was the investment.
It's all the hard bits that you sort of don't see, and like, okay, how would you do all of this? And And we didn't really have the support. We sort of had to do all that by ourselves. And that was tough, wasn't it? That was a tough one to do.
And then when I remember when I first joined the tribe and I was thinking, oh, I know that I can't do this and I've got this thing and it's really, I'm stuck now because I don't know what to do. And so many people were just like, oh, yeah, no, do this. Oh, I've got that. Right, you need to do this and do that. And just having that support and having that kind of understanding that, okay, this is just part of what it's like. But that there's people that you can go and ask for help and you can share your experiences. And then as soon as we had access to that, then we were able to fly because suddenly, it wasn't just problem solving and firefighting on your own. We had this community of support. And then obviously we came to PWT and we learned all about how to grow the business properly.
Everyone else is sort of going through the same thing, but there's literally answers, quick fire all the time.
Super cool. So tell us about this first deal. Yeah, because we just want to know, like, what was the first deal? Like, what was it and what development work were you attempting to do to it?
So it was a large Victorian house, which was no longer fit for purpose, and we were converting it into flats. So to do that, we took development finance for the first time. We dealt with QSs for drawdowns for the first time, architects, planning, investors for the first time. So there were a lot of different pieces, and there was a lot riding on being able to successfully deliver that. Yeah, it was just everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong.
We were winging it. We done our due diligence on it as best as we could.
This is development though, isn't it? So many third parties and so much out of your control. And it's, I think the difference since then, every project we've done since then, because we've had the support of the tribe, is not stressful. It's just, that's what it's like. Yeah. And once we were able to accept that and we knew we had support of people we could call on, all the rest of them we've done since. So yeah, every single one has a challenge. That's what property is like. It's just problem solving every day. But the way we were able to approach that, and with the change of like learning how to think differently and all the mindset support that you guys give, it was just like, okay, well, we're just going to do a project and another project and another project, and it's all fine. That was the difference for us, I think.
Yeah, it gave us the confidence. A lot of people, I think, would have walked away at that point. Yeah. Especially, not everyone's got the background that we have, and they might have walked away and gone a little bit afraid.
Yes, and it happens
a lot. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
But when you've got a support, it's like anything else, isn't it? When you've got a support network behind you, all done similar things, you're not alone, are you? At that point, you can go, well, yeah, we could do this again. We got the help. It's there, like I talked about previously.
What did you guys go on then do? What projects did you do? How did you handle everything that came up after that?
Lots of different things. We did some joint ventures. We got into, so before that, prior, we'd done these 2 buy-to-lets and we'd done this 1 flat conversion. We then went into HMOs, which was brilliant because before real life, we'd seen what could be achieved with HMOs, but didn't really understand it, didn't understand the compliance and Article 4 and all this kind of stuff.
It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, but we were lucky enough to joint venture with people from within the tribe who knew a lot more than us. We learned from them.
So as well, it's like learning what model to give people with the HMOs. And we used to flats or single lets. So to give people a home, and you've talked about it in the past, but it's very true. We're giving them a place that, especially the HMO room, it's a place you want to live and you want to stay and you want to look after. So it's, that's kind of cool as well. The money's great, don't get me wrong, and all that kind of thing. That's what we're there for. But also to give a good product, that's important as well, and that's rewarding in itself, and it makes you sort of want to go on and do a bit more as well.
Very good. So what we're looking at now, like what's in the portfolio, the jobs, the income, what's that look like?
So the portfolio at the moment, which is just ours, we've got 3 HMOs that are finished, 2 more that are in the pipeline being done. We've got 3 service accommodation, and we have 5 buy-to-lets.
Fantastic.
Since a couple of years since we've been with you guys.
So in that short time, like nearly £3.5 million of portfolio, and what's the rent like? So you actually built some to sell, right? But then you turn them back into rental. So again, everything goes wrong. So it's hard.
Absolutely. And it's all, the fact that thing of having 2 exits, that's what we've learned through you guys. And that's been massively helpful when you think the upheaval we've had since COVID in the market and the change of mortgage lending and all this kind of stuff. It's been brilliant because we've been able to diversify and swap around as required. So the total, the portion that we own of the portfolio, that is generating $250,000 in terms of income per year. I can't even, like, just thinking I would never have even been able to achieve that in a corporate job. And now it's like, oh, we don't have to work loads of hours to get this, which is nice. And we get that, we get that balance at the same time, which is what we wanted.
And it's such a short space of time. I mean, if you're committed to it, and the help's there. I mean, you can't, anybody could do it.
And that's the incredible thing about real life. I think you can do it so quickly that you can literally transform your life in a couple of years.
Wow, that is great to hear. That's
pretty cool.
That's why this is called transformation, all about going through transformation.
Yeah,
and it's cool because sometimes you hear it back, whether we do this or speaking to someone, you're so sometimes caught up in things. When you hear it back, you're like, oh yeah, it is really good.
Like, actually, we've been striving for this freedom of work-life balance and trying to achieve this thing that people talk about, but is it really real? And now we work when we want, we work with who we want, on what we want, where we want. We get to go on holiday. Neil gets to play golf. I can work whatever hours I want. It's just, it's amazing. And this is just the beginning. And I think one of the big things for me with, our commitment to this was one of the first coaching calls we had. And I remember Claudine, our coach, saying to us, you got to think about, when you think about your goals, where are you going? What do you want? And at that time we were thinking, we just need to cover our bills. Like, that's all we need is we just need to cover our bills, and all the stress will go away and it'll be fine. And she was like, oh, you got to think beyond that. And I really struggle thinking beyond that. It's just going to be, oh, this is all we need to do. And she was like, no, you need to think about contribution. How are you going to give back? Because when you've made this money, you're going to need something to do. When we were like, we just want a holiday, all we want to do is just have a rest. And she was like, no, it's more than that. And it's that being able to contribute that motivates you more than being able to create the money. So I used to work a long time ago, I ran a charity, and the work we did was amazing. And just like many charities, they can change a lot of lives, but they're restricted by their funding. So it's very much who you get your grant funding from. They'll tell you what you can do. You don't really have that much choice. Whereas if you make the money first and then you go to contribute, that's when you can really start to shake things up, which is very, very powerful and very motivating. And we feel very, very privileged to then be able to do that. And anybody can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the law of precession. We're not going to go into that now, but like anybody knows that, or studied that. But I mean, what you just said, there's another story for another time, but the moral of that story is, what the message is really, it is easier to pull people up from the top rather than push people up from the bottom. So you're right. So all of this transformation, and you're ready to step up gears right now as well.
100%, we're ready to go.
So this is to be continued.
Watch this space.
Absolutely fantastic, and all the things that you are doing. People need to subscribe to this channel, put questions in the comments here, so we can either do more videos or answer the questions that you have in the comments of how you can get yourself motoring, overcome the challenges and the fear of the status quo, because that's where people normally get stuck. So thank you very much, guys, for coming on here, being very inspiring for all of the people. And I think you have lived by this, which is a saying we have in our community, is you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Why is that?
It's the only way your job is discover your true potential.
Yes, very good.